Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Footy Judgmo. It has been a crazy night, but this is even a crazier show. It's going to be me, Sava, debating FFP Man City 2025, while Nottingham Forest and Everton are getting punished today. You know what I mean? But I know it's more complicated, but it's the end of Pep Guardiola's tenure. All of this is happening for Manchester City. Well, and this is why they are a very, very well-run club. They aren't just sleeping on it. They're going chasing Pedro Neto. They are strengthening the wings. It's not like they are sleeping on it. And I will see. No, Man City, to be honest, if we're talking about the benchmark of how to build a football team and how to build a squad that's a winning squad, every club should look at the Man City, look at their stadium, look at their squad, look at them removing a player, replacing a player. Look at Pep Guardiola. Look at the aspiration. Imagine winning a treble and being favorites for another treble next year. So praising Man City, to be honest here. But FFP is there. Should it be there? That's what we're talking about. And also this guy that I don't know how to pronounce the name, Gyokeres, that only had half a season. Half a season. Sporting Lisbon want £85 million for the player. For half a season on top flight, the guy was in the championship. Should Chelsea go for that guy, or should you wait for Osimhen or something? And we'll talk about Spurs. How did Sava assess Timo Werner debut? How does he see Spurs fading out this season? How they are coming this season? What they think? But first, I want to just ask you guys something. Hit that like button, please. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please, every day, non-stop, 7 in the morning, I'm waking up for entertainment. Sava Football Heritage TV. Listen, the guy is putting work hours after hours after hours, and they're all entertainment, right? It's not just talk, all entertainment. So Football Heritage TV, please help the guys there on the way to 15K. So your subscription really matters for them. They're one click away in the description. But Sava, how are you doing, mate? How's everything going with you?
I'm good. I'll be honest, I hate these times of the year where there's not many games on. You know, like when there's international week. I hate it, and it feels very much like an international week at the moment. But look, we've still got a lot of footy news, so I'm good, mate. I'm good. Always enjoy having a little chat with a judge, don't I, and his gavel. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, as always, man.
Right there, right here.
There it is, there it is.
Listen,
we're in charge.
Yeah, we'll start with FFP. And listen, me and you spoke about your channel, about FFP, and if you guys haven't checked that, on Sava's channel, Football Fever, myself, Sava and LB, we go out every week on Monday. A brilliant show, a brilliant discussion, of course. But I wanted to get your opinion from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Manchester City are spending money left and right.
Yeah.
But they are successful. Is it fair to say that even if they broke the rules, well, this is exactly why the rules shouldn't be there for a club like Manchester City, because yes, they are spending money. The owner is spending money. It's not astronomically different than other people. The net spend is out there for us to look at. So basically, they aren't. Why are they being prevented from spending money? Why are people saying, don't spend money? If every club will spend money and be like this, I think everybody would say, yeah, spend the money.
Yeah, look, I think that when we come to FFP, anything to do with finances, I feel like there's no right or wrong answer, right? There's just so many different layers to FFP, to finances. Look, on the one hand, if we're going to break this down, in layman's terms, on one hand, it's right, let's make sure that the big boys can't just keep spending whatever they want and give a chance for everyone else to catch up or not to be left too far behind. On the other hand, the people that are being punished from FFP at the moment are the clubs that it was probably originally designed to protect, the Nottingham Forests, the Evertons, etc., etc. Look, everyone knows the rules. Everyone's playing to the same rules, but every owner has got different bank balances, or whether it's bank balances or every owner's got a different mindset and model as to the way they want their club to run. Take my club, for example. My club want to run the club. My owners want to run the club where we're sustainable. That's how they've run it, right? They're sustainable. You know, we're very much in terms of what we bring in is what we will spend. We might go over that a little bit, but we're in nowhere near in any trouble of FFP. But because of that, people might say, well, hang on, that's why we've not won anything, because we've never gone out and spent big on the big players to win you things. Then you've got the other side of it where you've got an Everton who have spent loads and loads and loads, made loads and loads of mistakes and are in trouble through their own doing. But was it disingenuous? Were they trying to cheat the system? Were they going lavish? No. It's just a few things haven't worked out. They've not been able to sell players and they've been caught out. Then you go to the complete other end of the extreme and you've got Man City. Now, most of this, Mo, if I'm right, it was about making sure that clubs don't go bust, making sure that clubs aren't overspending, that the owners can't just walk away at any point and go, right, there we go. We've got X club here. We've left them with 500 million in debt and they could go bankrupt. I get that. But in the same breath, I also think that why shouldn't people be able to come in and spend their money on something that they've bought? If Man City's owners, for example, have bought the club, why, this is the argument, right? Why shouldn't they be able to just go and spend what they want?
Fair competitiveness?
Right. So then if that is the case, then for me, I think they've got to find a different way of making it fair, right?
Yeah.
Is fair actually fair right now? Is
No,
Everton and
100%
Forest
no.
getting
100%
done?
no.
Is it fair that they've tried to better their football club?
And then they went bust.
And now they're in trouble for. I don't, mate, Mo. I can't sit here and die on a hill for any club for FFP. I think the whole thing is a mess. I don't know. I think it's going to cause more harm than good in football. We're already seeing, like, you're now seeing Forest, Everton. Soon it will be Chelsea. Then maybe City. Arsenal are close to it.
So forget Forest and Everton. Right? Forget Forest and Everton.
Yeah.
Arsenal and Newcastle are the main clubs that I'm looking at. So I said, no, look at this Arsenal team. They are one or two maybe signings away this January. So maybe competing back in the league. If they can go and spend 150 or 200 million, I think Arsenal will be in a better place to challenge for the title even more because they made mistakes. Newcastle as well. Looking now at Newcastle, the reports are saying they might be forced to sell Isak or Bruno Guimaraes. Isn't that really cutting their legs, cutting their wings at a club like Arsenal and Newcastle, even though they're big clubs with owners, with money and all the stuff? Isn't that what we're looking at? It's not competitive now because Man City...
It's counterproductive.
Yes. Do you think that's the case here for Arsenal and Newcastle?
Yeah, look, I mean, again, it's a really difficult subject, right? Because it affects so many different clubs in different ways. First of all, let's say that, look, the whole thing that's leveled at Man City, for example, people are going, why have Everton and Forest been done, but City haven't yet? I mean, City have got so many charges against them that this was never going to be done in a week or two. It's going to take forever. Also, a lot of people out there, financial experts, are saying that what City have done isn't actually what people think. It's not actually that bad. And when they actually go through the actual process, they'll see that, hang on, they haven't actually been that bad, to be honest. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I'm not involved in it, Mo, right? I can only read what you read and what everyone else reads.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about Arsenal, right? Arsenal are a football club that have just spent what? How much have they spent in 4.5 years with Arteta? 650?
600 million or something like that.
Right, something like that. The question I'll ask is, how much money have they made back from selling players? Right?
Their net spend is very high.
Right. Okay. So their net spend is high, right? Okay. So their net spend is high. So that's not good, right?
Not good.
Their net spend is not great. Should a club like Arsenal be punished? Here's the question for me. This is as simple as it comes down to. Should a club like Arsenal be punished for trying to compete at the very, very top? Or should it be seen as ambition?
In my opinion, it's ambition. However, I said there has to be another way for teams to be fairly competitive. Because there are massive differences between the money that the owners have. And with the astronomical... Okay, Kylian Mbappe yesterday, the reports are saying he's offered 85 million pounds a year, right? You're telling me that an owner with 2 billion or 3 billion can offer someone like Kylian Mbappe this wage? Impossible. If you offer him 4 years wage, you're literally offering tenths of your net worth. So yeah, it's absolutely. So there has to be another way to be fair. There has to be another way for the clubs to be able to spend, yes, but to be fair with spending. And we spoke about wage gap. You spoke about a limit for spending per summer. Blah blah blah. But the people are mad, which is the last question I'm going to say about this. The people are upset that Man City will not know their fate until Pep Guardiola's contract is run in 2025. Why is the delay?
I mean,
We don't
look,
know. I'm not a lawyer. You're not a
yeah,
lawyer.
yeah,
But it
we're not.
sounds for the public, it sounds very strange. This
Of
is how
course,
people are
but
looking
but
at
the
it.
thing is, we're football fans that think we know more than we do, right?
Yes.
Not me and you, everyone. We're all football fans that think we know more than we do, and I think the difficulty is, if it's a sheer volume of 115 different charges. Some of these charges, by the way, I think one of them was like the length of the grass
Shirts and sponsors.
yeah,
we're talking about the financial charges.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
So,
them breaking the law in
yeah.
terms of like spending money in the wrong place, paying people
The thing is, as
offshore.
well, when you look at Man City now, they've now turned themselves into a club that is self-sustaining. So they've been through all of this. They're now self-sustaining. So what's to say that other clubs can't go through this? A bit of I don't know. I don't even know what they've done, by the way. None of us know at the moment what they've done.
I'm not a lawyer.
But, you know, they've come through the other side. They've built that academy. They're now making loads of money every year from selling academy players. They bring in footballers, move them on in a couple of years. They're making money from selling those players. So they're now in a position where if you actually look at Man City every year, they're not spending these lavish amounts of money that everyone actually thinks they are. Chelsea are spending more. Man United are spending more. Arsenal are basically spending the same amount. Spurs are spending money. Newcastle are spending money. Everton are spending. Bournemouth. Look at Bournemouth the last few years. Yeah. They're spending big money. So for me, I think that we're going to get into a situation where we're going to ruin football. And every year it's going to be more about points deducted here, fines here, this there, players leaving here. I just think we've tried to make football so regimented that the fun is going to go out of it.
Yeah. So forget the financials. Forget everything. Freaking Man City are going out scouting on the best wingers in the league, Pedro Neto. Listen, I'm looking at the City team and I'm like, you're going from strength to strength. You signed someone like Doku for 50 million, who I thought underwhelming, but apparently the club, of course, they know better than me. They scouted him. Look at Oscar Bob. I don't know where they breed these guys. I want to go to the school. I want to eat the same thing that they eat, these kids, right? Look at how the Rico Lewis as well, Phil Foden. Look at Cole Palmer at Chelsea, one of the products. Man City strengthening. What can people do? In short, I know we can speak hours about this. What can people do to challenge this team? And is this team the best team to ever be run late, like recently? And is there any way of challenging them?
Okay, so challenging them. Yeah, look, listen, they've dominated football for the last 7 years, right? 5 league titles, FA Cups, League Cups, Champions Leagues, whatever. They've dominated, right? We know they have.
Yeah, 100%.
Can you challenge them in a one-off season? Sure. We saw Liverpool won that year. Can you challenge them year after year after year? Well, I think if you want to challenge them year after year after year, you've got to have certain things. And I know there's loads of fans out there that don't want to hear this. There's loads of fans that, as you saw with a debate I had earlier in this week, that fans just want to win now and everything should win immediately. To challenge Man City, you've got to build like Man City built. You've got to go out and make sure that nearly all your signings are brilliant. If you look at them, Mo, right, what they've got over most clubs, how many signings have been failures?
Not a lot, but
right?
some.
You could say Phillips didn't work out, but let's be fair. Man City could turn around and go, well, Phillips was a backup to Rodri, right? How many of the bigger players they bring in fail? They seem to get it right, Mo, 9 times out of 10, right?
Not always. There is a reason why they sign players and then they sign other players. But here's what I get it. They don't get it wrong in terms of a player. Here's what I get it. What the difference is. Because Man City are a winning team,
Mm.
They got someone like Ferran Torres, who scored some goals, got injured the year after. But because they are a winning team, they are able to sell that player and get another player. Look at how Cancelo, for example, worked as a player, didn't work as a person at the end. They
Sure.
are able to loan him out. So on the football wise, Man City get players wrong. Laporte had one season. Nathan Ake, it took him time to be successful at the club.
Yeah,
And
but none
when
of
he
the
was
players you mentioned did a bad job for them. None of them failed.
but they didn't do the amazing job. There's a reason why they
Yeah,
replaced him.
but Mo,
I
that's not
actually
what.
think that Jack
What was my
Grealish isn't
question?
successful.
Mate, but he is. That's ridiculous, right? Look, Mo, this is the problem. You're taking it to the extremes. What I'm saying with Man City, it's a squad. You have to build a squad. The squad that Man City have built, whether or not Ferran Torres was in it, whether or not Laporte was in it, Cancelo, Grealish, whoever, none of these players have gone there and been massive flops. They've come in, done a job, and if it wasn't right for whatever reason, Pep moves them on quickly. Right?
Yeah.
Pep moves these players on if they don't work out very, very quickly. That's how you know whether or not a player succeeded at City. Pep's not an idiot. Yeah, you have a year, 2 years, it's not worked, see you later. Right?
Yes.
That will be the test of Jack Grealish is now in his 3rd year. Right? There's no sign of Jack Grealish going anywhere because he does the job that Pep Guardiola wants him to do. Right? Calvin Phillips, you might see him go. Of course, you're going to see him go. He's coming as a squad player. But my point is, over the years, the bulk of what Man City do,
successful. 100%.
They have a plan. They have an ethos. Their strategy, the scouting with what's his name, Tiggy Buckenstein or however you say his name. What they've got is a conveyor belt of everything right. The youth is right. The first team is right. The scouting's right. The manager's right. Everything is right. Then you look at other clubs and. As I said, people want to just win right now. Cool, you might go and win right now for one season because you did well. But to sustain it,
yes,
you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a process. And people go, project manager, all this. Listen, it's not just about having a project. It's about having a plan and an ethos throughout your club. And look at what City have built. Look at the standards City set for themselves. Everyone prays that City lose every week they play, right? Every time Man City play, you tell me, Mo, at 2-1 the other day, Man City, Newcastle went 2-1 up. Everyone in the world posting on, City aren't as good as they were. City are rubbish. Love seeing City lose. Right? Why? What if you're not the best? Why do people hate seeing you win?
Yeah, domination. Right? People domination. I sit here publicly and I say, I genuinely want someone else to win the league because City are very brilliant. People think I hate Man City. I don't. You're just very good. That I want the underdog story, which is
sure.
It sounds better for me.
The underdog story, though, the underdog story can work 1 year, right? There's a huge difference. So let's say I'm just hypothetical, Mo. Hypothetical.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think what I'm about to say is going to happen before anyone clips this and says Sava thinks this, right?
Get your phones out.
Yeah, if Aston Villa won the league this year, right? If Tottenham won the league this year,
yes.
If Arsenal won the league this year, 3 teams that haven't won the league in the last 20 years. There's a difference between winning it and there's a difference between sustaining it and dominating for the next 6, 7, 8 years. That's the difference between City and all these other clubs. So when I get Spurs fans saying to me, we've got Man City's number, we're their bogey team. Cool. We can beat them in a one-off game. Huge difference doing it over 38 games a season, right? Yes. But Man City won't care. They got 38 games a season. They win league titles. They win FA Cups. They've won Champions Leagues. For me, that is what everyone hates. That is what everyone wants to try and replicate. And to do that, like Arsenal in the summer, City are not buying a Kai Havertz at 65 million.
No, they're
not. Yeah, they're not, Mo. They've never done it. They never would.
But
right?
Can I ask you something? Do you think sustaining Man City is down to the money, which is a lot of people say you can chop and change? You bought Claudio Bravo, it didn't work. You bought Edison. You bought this guy, it didn't work. You bought that guy. You bought a defender, got injured, bought another defender. Do you believe that it is down to the money is a big? I'm not saying it's only down to the money because that scouting is phenomenal.
Yeah.
They don't sign, and I said that many times. My opinion is Pep Guardiola makes superstars. Pep Guardiola is the one that makes Rodri who he is. Rodri, when he came from Atletico Madrid, yes, Look at Rodri being talked about now, one of the best DMs in the history of the sport. So I'm not going to take anything away from Pep. But do you think the money and the ability to go out and rectify your mistakes is a simple way of fixing things, while other clubs aren't? We're talking about Arsenal now, made the mistake of signing Kai Havertz, but they don't have the financial means to go and rectify that mistake. Do you believe that the money is a big factor here for Man City?
But look,
Besides, scouting is needed, but the money is there as well.
I believe it was when they were getting to where they're getting. Now it's not. Now they're selling players regularly and making money. Now they're selling youth products that are coming through at 15, 20, 25 million pound a pop. Youth players that have never played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Man City seem to keep selling these players to Southampton, for example, that are 15, 20 million. No one knows who they are. Well, obviously the Man City staff and the youth academies know who they are. We don't know who they are. They've not played in the first team. This is the thing. You don't always have to spend huge money to win everything. When you look at some of the players City are bringing in compared to what other people are paying for players. Now, there's always going to be outliers like Grealish at 100 million. But City, other than Grealish at 100 million, I'd love to know, what's City's biggest transfer? I don't know if anyone knows.
I think it was Diaz, 60 million pounds or something like that. I think right, so. I'm not sure, but I'm going to check it now while you talk.
Okay, check Man City's biggest transfers, right?
Yeah, I'm checking it now.
What they do brilliantly is the transfers they spend between 40 million and 60 million are always Pep Guardiola type players. There's always going to be a few outliers. You can say Calvin Phillips, but he wasn't bought for the first team, right? They're Pep Guardiola players. They're players that he has identified, I can work with this player. I can make them better. I can upskill them, right? And they all come in and slot into his formation, to his process. Other clubs don't do that. Other clubs is a little bit more of a hit and hope, right?
Yes.
So, for example, Man City can bring in, people are talking about Vardiol at 77 million.
Gavardiol, 90 million euros. For some reason, the website is only coming euros. Jack Grealish, Gavardiol, Kevin De Bruyne, 76 million euros. Ruben Diaz.
Was Kevin De Bruyne 76 million euros?
That's what the website, that's what Transfer Market says. It's not me, by the way. I'm not reporting this, people. I am not. Let's just establish that, right?
Yeah, no, of course.
Not reporting this.
Look, but what I'll say is when you look at those numbers, now compare those numbers to the amount of expensive flops Chelsea have bought, the amount of expensive flops Man United have bought, right? When you look at that, City's...
Isn't that just Pep Guardiola being Pep Guardiola?
Oh, but that's my point. But the club is run so...
Anybody could have hired Pep Guardiola and be the same. If Man United hired Pep Guardiola, do you believe they would have been... So here's a question to you then. Do you believe if Man United hired Pep Guardiola in 2015 or 2017 instead of Man City, when they got him 16, 17, right? If in 2016 Pep Guardiola went to Manchester United, would Manchester United be here now?
If the owners were on the same page as Guardiola. So listen, when Guardiola's going into Man City, he's turning around and going, this is the transfer team I want. These are the scouts I want. This is the football I'm going to play. The academy's going to have to completely change and be ripped up and play the same way that I play, right? You've got to have that long-term planning and vision. And this is what I mean. People can win it one-off. People can be brilliant for a year. Sustainability, you've got to have all of these different things ticked off. And I know most football fans don't want to talk about that. I know most football fans go, process planning, whatever. But you have to. Yeah? Why? Who's the second most successful team in the last 7 years behind Man City?
No one.
Liverpool.
But no one comes... Well,
no one comes close to City.
But it's very... I think it's down. Listen... 1 point behind City for 2 seasons it's just a small details here and there. Imagine if Liverpool won one of these or two, like, because it goes down to actually a referee's decision, a mistake here and there. 1 point behind Man City in 2 seasons. It could have been the other way around, and we could have been sitting here having a different talk. We could have been saying Liverpool are more successful than City.
Of course, but listen,
if some buts and maybes, but it's a very
sample size. The sample size shows you that whilst it was close in some seasons,
at the end, in 10 years, we're already at the end,
Right.
10 years, because I remember that, will only remember one thing, that Manchester City are the dominant team. I remember when Man United and Chelsea, in the last game of the season, Chelsea won it. Not a lot of people remember that it was the last game. People remember that, yeah, it's Chelsea who won the league at that day. It's as simple as that. So I get why people say that.
I'll ask you this. Look.
Yes, please do.
For all the big signings Man City make, most of them they get right. No one gets every signing right, by the way. No manager. Most of them they get right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Now, you also look at 15 million for Julian Alvarez. 15 million.
Yeah, but that's scouting.
15 million for a Kanji. Right? Signings like that as well. When they sign John Stones, people are going, oh, this guy's rubbish. Who's this guy? Blah, blah, blah. So sometimes it's not just going out and buying the best. For me, what Pep Guardiola tends to do, if you look at him throughout his career, most of his signings, then they're not the Mbappes. Right? They're not. It's not the Mbappes. It's the ones
level
in the bracket
below them. It's
that he can upskill, that can play. Gundogan, Silva, great footballers. Never get talked about.
But they were never
superstars.
They were never superstars before that. Yes.
Right.
Kevin De Bruyne was fantastic at Wolfsburg, right?
Fantastic.
But in the Bundesliga, there was Marco Reus, Lewandowski. He didn't, like, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's buying the guy that maybe won the Player of the Year in one season. I actually like that. And I like to say that Pep Guardiola makes superstars. We're talking about Bernardo Silva, for example, one of the players, Monaco, was very, very good. But look at where he is now. Look at how people talk about Bernardo Silva. But that's what I mean. People keep saying Man City, Man City. Is it only down to Pep? Is it
no.
Pep?
It's listen, Pep is the driving force. Pep is the name on it, right? Pep is the name on it. But Tiggy Birkenstein at Man City, take him away, you lose something. This guy's a real driving force behind what City do. City's academy directors, Pep would have had a say in that as to, right, how is the first team going to play the same football? Sorry, how is the youth teams going to play the same football as the first team? So that when they bring Rico Lewis into the first team, right? When they bring Oscar Bob into the first team, they're playing that style of football in the academy. They're not just plucking them and going, right, learn a new style. This is exactly the Barcelona and Ajax model. This is the Barcelona model. The B team, the C team, they all play the same way. So that when you pluck a player out to go straight into the first team, he knows the role. The player knows the role. You know what you're doing. You're just doing it at the next level now. You know the role. So, look, there's a number of factors to it. The interesting thing for all of us, Mo, is going to be when Pep leaves, what does City do?
I wanted to ask you this. Do you think they will continue? It's a yes or no question. Do you think they will continue? Or is it depend who they hire?
It depends who they hire. I mean, I fail to believe, though, that when Pep leaves, he's not going to have a say in, hey, this is the guy you want. This is the guy that can continue my legacy. What City won't do is what other clubs do. When you bring in when you implement what they've implemented the last decade with this style of play, this ethos, right?
Yeah.
What you can't do is then when Pep goes, go and get a manager who plays a completely different style of football. And it's a completely different ethos. You need somebody who can pick up those reins. Yeah, they might have different nuances to Pep, but it's going to have to be very similar because of what they've built. So who that is at the moment, I don't know, because Pep's not going anywhere as far as I know. So, but it's a good talk.
It's a good listen, people. There's about 300 of you here, so hit that like button. Get us at least to listen, guys. We are only on 100 likes, 150 like. The like button is underneath your live chat. It's the only way this channel is gonna grow, and we're gonna get to 15k and 20k. Look at that brilliant content I try to bring you, and look at these guys. Look at someone like Sava every week helping me here on the channel. Lee Gunner yesterday, if you haven't checked that. Hussam and LB tomorrow. Kunli's here. Tom and Nobbins, Jerry James, Will Stewart, of course. Absolutely brilliant people coming in. It's Kaz becoming a YouTube member. Thank you so much for people that became members to help the channel. Will Stewart, I've been member for 3 months. I judge Mo think Romero is better than Saliba. Never will. It's only your agenda that you say Romero is better than Saliba.
Is that still going on?
It is going. It goes every week.
God.
It goes every week.
It's so boring now. It's always going to be biased. Arsenal fans are always going to say Saliba. Spurs fans are going to say Romero.
But to be honest, Will always comes with, What I like, to be honest, in football debates, Sava, that's besides the point, I actually always like when someone, if you're giving me an opinion, I like to know your explanation. I will respect you if you
Sure,
have an explanation. And if I disagree
sure,
with your explanation, I will still debate that explanation. But some people out there in football, they say something and they say, well, this is just how I think. So why do you think that?
sure,
They just can't give an
sure.
answer. But so to give it up to Will, to be honest, every time he says that, he gives an explanation. Do I agree
No,
with him? No, I don't.
I don't
Sometimes,
agree with him either. I like his explanation. It doesn't mean it's right.
exactly.
You
But
can explain something. Look, this is why I've always said about stats.
I love
Stats.
Will, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, I love Will. He's in. He does a couple of shows a week with me. So it's not about
Yeah.
not loving Will, but I think when people judge players against stats, players play in different formations, they play in different setups, players have played with different teammates. I think there's so many nuances. But look, the Saliba
I'm not
Romero
turning this
thing.
into Romero. I don't want. I
No,
don't
no,
want
it's
to
just
turn
it's
this.
boring now. They're
Come
both
on.
good. I think they're both overrated. If I'm brutally honest, I think they're both good. They're nowhere near the level of centre backs we've been used to in the Premier League. But that's why everyone's getting all arsey, and neither of them will probably win anything this year.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Talking about a player, and this is something that is very, very strange to me. So I woke up yesterday and I see this Gyokeres guy, whatever
Yeah,
his name is, Swedish
yeah.
guy. Never watched in my life. So I go and look up the guy, right? And he played half a season only in Sporting Lisbon. Yes, he scored 11 goals and have 7 assists in the Portuguese league. Darwin Nunes had a season. And I look before, and the guy has never played top flight football in his life. The guy played only championship. And Chelsea bid 70 whatever million for the guy.
Well, they haven't. They haven't. That's the important thing. They haven't
But
bid
that's
for
what
him.
it says.
Yeah, but
That's reported. I read that.
Yeah, all of the reputable reporters
Sources
are
said that
saying
they haven't.
that they haven't. Look, the difficulty is with if we're going to take Gyokeres, I think that's how you say it. Somebody in the chat will tell me if I've got it wrong. But
Please,
it
I
is what
don't
it
know
is.
how to pronounce it. It's
Look, Sporting Lisbon have played it well. Sporting Lisbon have gone and bought a guy, right? They've gone and bought a guy from Coventry.
yes.
Who is it a punt? Well, he's only done it in the Championship. And to be fair to them, they've grown a pair and said, all right, we're going to slap €100 million clause in your contract. And it's paying off for them at the moment. He's scoring goals. And it's well within their rights to say, cool, all right, you want our player? Go on then, pay us 100 million. Now, whether or not he's worth 100 million is two very different things, Mo. Whether he's worth it, but that's what they've got in his contract. Now, Mo, imagine they didn't put that contract in, right? Right now, you'd be having bids for 30 million, right? 40 million. And Sporting Lisbon will be gutted because they'd be like, well, hang on. We've just bought this guy. He's scoring goals for fun. He's assisting for fun. And now we're going to lose him for 30, 40 million. We've got to go and find somewhere else. So all we've seen here is Sporting Lisbon safeguarding themselves from losing a top goal scorer for cheap. That's all they've done. It's not, football now isn't about what the player's worth. Football's not about that. It's what can the club command. There's so many players that are not worth what their fee is.
Yeah, but
So
my point is, why are Chelsea going for someone like this? Why aren't Chelsea going for someone known?
He is known. He is known.
Well,
he's an international footballer that plays up front for Sporting Lisbon in Europe. He is known. But do you mean why aren't they going for an Osman?
Yeah, for an Ivan Toney, for I don't know, like someone who's more experienced, because this guy is 25 years old, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. Like he just doesn't. Like he doesn't have a lot of experience in top flight. And looking at Chelsea at the moment, do you believe the club, and this is something I know that you debated with Gooni, in my opinion, if Chelsea got top 6 at the moment, from the current situation, it's good for them. If they get top 4, it's magical. But do you think that you're looking at them playing football, you think there is a plan? This is me thinking there is a plan. I see a style of play. I see Chelsea stats-wise look good. Every time I'm watching them, they look all right. However, Pochettino is making mistakes, big mistakes in the lineups. Pochettino is making mistakes in in-game management. And people are correcting me in the chat and saying, Mo, Chelsea aren't going for him. That's what I read. So you guys correct me. Thank you for correcting me. And I will admit that I'm wrong. I'm reading it. People say that there is no smoke without fire. People say that Chelsea inquired about him. Blah, blah, blah. There is a reason why Sporting Lisbon said it's 85. That means someone inquired about him. But yeah, if you don't go for him, you don't. But looking at Chelsea on the pitch, and I'm going to have a show tonight that is about Chelsea like I had about Arsenal yesterday. What do you think a realistic expectations from the current point for Chelsea? Top 4, top 6?
Well, look, I was someone that always said that they needed time. And I know people just say 1 billion, 1 billion, 1 billion. I think when people just say the words 1 billion, I think it does show a real lack of critical thinking. For me, I think that it was always going to take time, but they had to get into Europe. For me, they've got to get into Europe this year and definitely Champions League next year. Again, it's that right now. We must have it right now, right now, right now. Look, they've not probably had the first half of the season they wanted. What's good for them from the position they're in right now would be getting a Europa League place from where they are right now. I think they've probably left it. It's probably a bit too much to ask for them to get Champions League. But look, whether or not it's been a success or not won't be determined in 1 year. And this is the problem. Everything can't be determined in 1 year. Every rebuild, every project, every new manager, it can't be determined in 1 year. Listen, if Chelsea have a good second half of the season and go into next year with momentum, with a more settled team, less ins, less outs, but just bringing in the necessaries, right? Like bringing in a top midfielder, a top forward, and a top centre goalkeeper in the summer. That's what they need to do for me. So this time next year, we could be sitting here going, God, it all failed miserably. Right now, I just think that...
To counter that, Sava, any club that spend that much money, and I'm going to give you an example right away. If a club like Man United spend that much money in the summer and get a manager that is experienced, right? And they are sitting 8th or 7th, do you think the manager should get sacked at that point? Like that much money, getting that many players in one summer, you should be aiming for more.
Yeah. Look. I suppose listen, Mo, I'll say what I always say.
They consider themselves a big club, isn't it? Because I get what you're saying. If this was a Brentford spending that much money and they are progressing and they are getting Europa League, you'd say, okay, look where you are. But this is Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah. It depends what you look. It depends who you're going to bring in next, how much money you're going to give that manager, how much time are you going to give the next manager as well. Because as I've said, Mo, people need to be careful what they ask for, right? Yeah. People need to be asked for. If you bring in a next manager, and you already give them the same recruitment team that apparently people don't like this recruitment plan, what's the point? Right? You're setting up the next manager to fail. Look, I don't know the answer. Mo, the thing is, it's not my club, right? It's not my club.
Yeah, sure, but we're allowed to talk about it.
No, of course. But what I've said is the same thing, right? Right? Is unfortunately, you've got people who are probably a bit younger saying things like, we don't care, we just want to win right now. That's fine. But did they think they were going to just spend in the summer and be better than Man City? They weren't.
Or at least compete, but they're way far from Man City at the moment.
Yeah, but Mo, they should be nowhere near Man City. They should be nowhere near Man City. Man City have built up.
So why are Liverpool at the same? Why are Liverpool up?
Hang on, but Mo, they're not. You're just disingenuous. Liverpool are not the same as Chelsea. Liverpool in the window changed their midfield, right? Their forward players, their defence is all the same. Liverpool changed their midfield. Liverpool last year had a bad spell, and then towards the back end of the season, we lost 1 in 16. Yeah, Liverpool came into this season, settled, changed their midfield. Yeah. For me, Liverpool, again, that you know the plan, you know the process, the manager's been there for years. Yeah. There's no crisis. There was a crisis at Chelsea. And the problem is, if you keep sacking managers, Mo, what do you do next season? Do you sack the next manager and the next manager and the next manager? I don't care.
By the way, I am in this school, by the way.
Sure. I know.
You know, I'm an Inter fan. You know, we sat the Moratti. You know, we're old enough to know that. You know, Inter used to sack managers for fun. You know that.
I'm going to ask a question because there's one fan that yes? Again, I can tell The CFC
Go
replay.
ahead, don't worry about it. Yeah, what
No,
about
no,
it?
no. I'm not worried about anything, Mo. I'm not worried about anything. I'm going to ask him a question. It's easy when I see people in the chat that could just say things like, we have standards unlike your bottle job club. First and foremost, the reason I know he's young is this has got nothing to do with Tottenham Hotspur, right? My opinion on this has nothing to do with who I support. Yes, they want to win immediately. I'm going to ask a sensible question and see if I get a sensible answer. Sure. I don't care if you sack Poch. Mo, I don't care if they sack Pochettino. It does change nothing at
Doesn't
my
change anything
club,
about you,
right? Yeah? Right. Doesn't change me, doesn't change my football club. I'm asking this sensible question to everyone in the chat. Let's see if we can get some sensible answers. If you sacked Poch right now, a manager, by the way, that's won 4 out of 5 league games, right? If you're going to sack the manager right now, okay, and you bring in a new manager right now, Mo, and the manager's got 17, 18 league games left. If this next 17, 18 games are not quite what Chelsea fans want, I'm asking this to those fans. Do you sack him, the next manager, in the summer, and you install another manager so that in 2 years you've had Tuchel, Potter, Poch,
Lampard.
Lampard. Yeah, Lampard, but
He had 9 games.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me get my point. Because that doesn't, for me, that was interim, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you sacked him, you've had, in 2 years, you've had Tuchel, Potter, Poch, this next guy that comes in for the last 18 games here, then you go again next season with a new manager. I'm going to ask you, Mo, at what point are people going to realise that if you keep giving managers 18 games, they can't build anything? At what point? You cannot come into a club that has had so much change, Mo. New owners, yeah? New owners, 4 or 5 different managers, new scouts, new directors of football. They've come into that, and you're going to give every manager, 18 games to be successful? Mo, realistically, looking at this from an adult's point of view, how can that ever be successful from where they are right now? How can that be successful?
I will tell you.
No, you'll try, but you won't. You know you won't.
I will tell you my opinion. You won't.
Go on.
Yeah.
Your opinion.
You don't have to accept it. I have proof for it. I have proof. So Inter hired Spalletti, and we were out of the Champions League for years until he got us to the Champions League for the first time, Luciano Spalletti. And then we fired him. And then they hired Antonio Conte. And he signed, if I'm not mistaken, 11 players. He signed Lukaku, Barella, Sensi, blah, blah, blah. We signed tons and tons of players. We went to Europa League final, right? And we lost the league by 6 points to Juventus, who have won it before that 8 years. The year after, Inter won the league after 10 years. My point about that is you can get a manager to win now. Is it going to happen? To win now, you don't have to win the league because of Pep Guardiola and because there is another team that is better run than you. This is reality and facts. Man City are better run than them. But you can get a manager that will have an instant impact. I believe, for example, the likes of Ange Postecoglou is actually proven. And I had one of the titles in my videos that said that Ange Postecoglou is exposing other managers. Mm-hmm. The reason why, because Ange Postecoglou, if in the summer, Ange Postecoglou, and I'm going to say this now, if Ange Postecoglou was given the money at Spurs that Pochettino is not given, but the owners spend as much money as the Chelsea owners, and you would have sufficient replacement for the likes of Maddison, Van de Ven during the injuries, and sufficient forward, Ange Postecoglou would not, and I believe based on evidence of this, every time I'm watching Spurs, would not have been sitting in this position. You might have been 5 points. The reason why I'm saying that, because you play very good football and effective. It's not only good on the eye and then you lose games. It's very good. So I believe there are managers out there that
let
might
me counter
give you immediate effect. Your club is a proof.
Yes. Yeah, our club is. I'll ask this question. Yeah. Look, by the way, I can't keep saying this. I don't care what Chelsea do. I don't care what Chelsea do. Sack him. Bring another manager in. Sack that guy. Bring another manager in. Sack that guy. Every club is different, Mo. What 100%. Works well? What 100%. Works well at one place doesn't just mean when it's happened there, it should happen there.
Yes.
Secondly, Chelsea have had, I looked the other day, the most injuries in the Premier League, right?
Yes.
I don't know what to say. If clubs want to keep, listen, CFC Reaper, just stop, dude. Right? I asked you a question, and you failed to answer it. Right?
No. They
asked,
said a lot of Chelsea fans suffer, and this is the thing that you disagree
but he's not.
with them.
Hang on, Mo. He's not
They
answered
said
the
yes.
question.
They said yes.
Right.
Sack
Okay.
this manager and sack the next one.
So every 18 games, it doesn't work out with sacking a manager.
Yes, that's what the people
cool.
do.
Go for it.
Inter did this.
Sure, but this isn't Inter Milan. It's got nothing to do with it, right? Cool. Go for it. Do it. Go for it. I can't wait to see what happens. Go for it. Keep sacking managers every 18 games. Keep giving every manager more and more and more and more money. Keep getting a new manager in with a new ethos, a new way of playing. Keep having to get rid of all the deadwood that the manager and the new manager comes in doesn't want. He then has a transfer window, one transfer window. Then you get rid of him. The next manager comes in. You start again. Cool. Do it. I will watch that, and I will look forward to Chelsea being like this for years to come if you keep doing this every 18 games. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. I don't care what anyone says.
By the way,
it's not sustainable.
It's not, and my club has proved that it's not sustainable. However, you can win sporadically like what Chelsea did over the past 20 years. It's as simple as that. That's the answer.
Yeah. But the difference is, Mo, over the last 20 years, Chelsea have never had a squad like this.
Yeah,
over the last 20 years, Chelsea had much better squads with top players that could go and win things immediately. You look at this squad they've built. Whether this was by design or what, they've built a very young squad. Now, the argument I would have that would be very different to this, that a lot of the Chelsea fans I see, though, haven't got the emotional intelligence to deal with this, right? Is if they have gone out and bought this team, this age of players by design, then clearly the club are at loggerheads with each other because they're buying lots of young players for a manager and then expecting the world. Which one is it? If you want the manager to hit the ground running, don't go and buy him loads of kids. Go and buy him the best footballers out there. 2, if the fans are annoyed at the 1 billion, then
I am annoyed at the 1 billion.
You're not a Chelsea fan. Yeah, but you're not a Chelsea fan. If the Chelsea fans are annoyed at the 1 billion and how it's been spent, then what they want is they want the owners out, not the managers that are coming in, because the managers don't stand a chance. You've got to give people have got to have time. You can't have half a season. It is madness. By the way, I don't even think Chelsea will finish 10th where they are right now.
Really?
They're not 10th. They're 9th. I don't think they'll finish.
Where do you
9th.
think they will finish then?
I think they'll finish.
Nobody knows the future, but what do you think?
I think they'll finish 6th.
6th. Okay, so let me do a couple of things. Number one, before I do Saad, of course, was here yesterday. Nilutman is saying that bold is an absolute fraudiola. People a lot of hate on Guardiola, but Guardiola in the history is the best manager to build a system to win you the league. Numbers prove that. You give him players, you don't give him players, up to you. The football corner from Saad is saying, if you look at the situation at Chelsea, they miss experience a lot. And their players in the leadership circle are very young, so they are trying to find their place in the team. This is what Sava, I think, mentioned now. You go at the owners, at the structure. Why are the owners and the structures? Is that Jamie here, Sava, look at this. Jamie here is saying, I don't know if that's true or not. Manchester City have been issued. This is, guys, breaking news, if that's correct or not. Manchester City have been issued a hearing date for their 115 financial charge from the Premier League. Progress on the hearing could be made as early as next week, not 2025. That just came out. Can someone please, thank you, Jamie, someone confirm that?
Let me have a look
please have a look at this, because if this is true, next week the Premier League is hearing people. Damn, this is big news, to be honest. If that's with the guys, over 300 of you here. So can we get the likes up a little bit on this Wednesday morning for me, Wednesday afternoon for Sava and the people in the UK, Wednesday evenings for other people around the world. So hit that like button, people.
I can't see anything for anyone from any reputable person at the moment.
I don't think that's true. But moving on from Chelsea to another team that is Spurs, though. I wanted to ask you, how did you assess Timo Werner's debut? Because we had an argument about that, because I thought he was all right. And people said, no, it was okay. He got an assist. They looked at the assist, but I looked at the whole. Oh, it's Telegraph football. It's Telegraph. I'm gonna look it up while you speak about anything.
Anything that I saw from Timo Werner is what I expected from Timo Werner. Very quick, gets in good positions, not clinical, bad decision making. I mean, it is what it is. It's a debut. I'm not. The difference is, Mo, sometimes, as a fan, when you sign a player, you get excited and you expect a lot from them.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting a lot from him. So for me, it was okay. I mean, if we're going to call that an assist, I mean, he passed the ball about 3 yards into Bentancur's path. I mean, it's not like he had to go and beat 3 men, get a brilliant cross, is it? So, assists can be somewhat miscued. Look, it was okay. I think we're going to see Werner do well against poor teams, and I think he'll be ineffective against the big teams. It
Do you think there was a chance missed to sign somebody else? Do you think you should have signed someone else? The way, let me explain myself about this. The way I look at Spurs every week, I look at them from the Arsenal point of view when they bottle top 4 to Spurs. Spurs play good football. Spurs can be higher on the table. Spurs can be a team that players would want to play for next year. This is the opportunity to get Champions League football guaranteed next year. Not 5th, not 6th. This is it. Because I'm looking at them. You are competing against Aston Villa and Arsenal. Gary Neville, whatever you agree with him or not, said that Spurs can finish above Liverpool, even though you are 5 points and they have a game in hand. So this was supposed to be Daniel Levy going out, getting a forward that is worth it. And even if you don't have the money, go get someone else. I thought it was a lazy signing, Timo Werner. It was someone out there, an opportunity. Like, I spoke to people. I think the people said it was an opportunity that arised. And then they just, why not? Well, he took a place in the squad. You might have needed someone better because Solomon is coming back from a big long injury. Brennan Johnson isn't performing, and you spent £50 million on that guy. So that's what I'm looking at the signing. People say, there is no financial impact, but it is a roster impact. This is your forward signing. Could have been someone else. And it might be make or break. Imagine that for top 4.
Well, let's take all that. I mean, look, first of all, we're talking about Gary Neville's comments. For Spurs to finish above Liverpool, I mean, look, we are what?
5 points.
We've got 17 games left. They've got 18. They're 5 ahead. If they win that game in hand, it means in 17 games, whatever they do, we've got to do 3 better. So if they win 12, we've got to win 15. If they win 13, we've got to win 16. It's a big ask. It's a really, really big ask to turn over 8 points from that position. I get it. Gary Neville, I've seen, he said a lot of nice things about Spurs. Listen, a lot of it I agree with. Some of it I think he's getting a little bit too carried away with. I've said the same thing to you all season, right, Mo? I think City from Liverpool. That's my prediction. I've not changed it from game 1. Werner, it did feel like it was an opportunistic situation that presented itself to Spurs, and we've snapped it up. He isn't, for me. I think he'll score a few goals, by the way. I don't think it's going to be the worst signing that we've ever made. I think he'll grab a couple of goals, couple of assists. And for me, it's just, I would have liked better. I would have liked somebody a bit more technical. I would have liked somebody a bit more clinical or can hold the ball up. Or I don't know. It just, I don't think
he's a good player, Sava. He's the same as Havertz. He was a player 4 years ago. Okay, so this is the thing. He was a player at RB Leipzig. You remember when he was scoring left and right and like, you remember when Chelsea signed him. But that player is 4 years ago. It's 2019. It's 2024. So again, if Ange Postecoglou can get a tune out of the guy, he's a genius. And I said that before. But I didn't like it. I'm not a Spurs fan. I thought Spurs would do better because they're entertaining. They're doing good. It's a very good underdog story because I said this Ange guy will finish 9th after selling Harry Kane. So I'm actually thinking you should have done better, and that's Daniel Levy. You should have done better. You should have signed someone else. But about that finish above Liverpool or thing, do you think if Spurs finish third, that's an achievement for the team this year?
Of course it is. Of course it's an achievement if we finish third this year. Listen, I said at the beginning of the season, I think Spurs will be 5th to 7th. And at the moment we're 5th. So I kind of feel like, okay, that's roughly where we should be. I didn't think the gap would be so big between us and 7th already. I mean, if we look at the table, we're already 8 points clear of the team in 7th. So you would say that unless we collapse, we will get European football one way or another. If we got third, God, yeah. What from the mess that Postecoglou picked up after losing Harry Kane as well, it would be a great season. So for me, yeah, I think it would be a great season if we finish third or fourth. Yeah, absolutely, amazing season.
So what's the aspiration for next year or the year after?
It depends what we buy, right? I mean, I can sit here as a fan. I've done this a million times before under this ownership. A million times before, I've sat here and gone, right, kick on now. We finished fourth. We finished third. We finished second. What are we going to do in this transfer window to really go and compete? And then we haven't. So ask me that in the summer. The aspiration for me as a fan is we want to go on and win things. We want to try and challenge. But
so do you believe if you finish third and you sign the players and ones, you should aspire to win the league next year? I
mean, we should aspire to challenge.
The word win, by the way, it goes with a lot of circumstances. Like there might be a referee's decision here and a big injury. Like if you're superstar, like if Rodri gets injured tomorrow for Man City and they lose the league after the January transfer window shuts, we will say, well, if they have big injuries, like I always say, when you aspire to win the league, that means you aren't just content.
Okay, yeah, we aspire to win it. We aspire to win it. I, as I said, if we take this full circle to what we first started talking about, I just think putting together a squad that's good enough to cope with Man City over a year is going to take a bit more time. I think we've got a good team, but to put a squad together, that know-how, getting some experience in there, leaders, people that have got over the line before, never underestimate that, Mo. People in your team that know how to get over the line.
Well, the coach.
Yeah, but you've got to have players in your team that have got over the line. You've got to have Liverpool have got it, Man City have got it. Have other clubs. It's a huge thing to have know-how in your team. That for me is what you'll buy. But look, you've got to have aspirations. You know, you can't do. It can't be every year we go, right, fourth is good. That's it. It's got to be, all right, we finished fourth. Now what do we do? Now how do we build from that? It can't be the same thing every year, but we'll see what happens.
Do you think all the clubs should think like that?
It depends
or only big clubs, or it's all about the money.
I mean, what an open-ended question that is. Every big club.
The reason why I'm saying that, Sava, is that Spurs haven't won the league in I don't know how long. Okay,
I know how long.
Won the Champions League. I'm not a Spurs fan. 50 years, 40 years, whatever that is.
63 years.
Okay, that's even worse. So, top four should be good for a club like Spurs, isn't it? Or is it because of the finances? Why is not? Why do you think West Ham, if they get top four 5 years in a row, they'll be upset?
Mo, the problem is when I try and answer this level-headed, I just get so many childish comments back. Not from you.
Forget about the comments.
No. But in general, look, listen. From where we were when the manager picked us up, if we finished fourth, it would be amazing in year one.
Of course, 100%.
From where we were, we just lost. We just lost the greatest striker in world football, arguably, right?
Yes.
And he's picked up a club that were in a mess, a club that finished 8th, that had no playing style. If he was to finish 4th this year, of course, it's an achievement. But then you've got to say to yourself, right, okay, we finished 4th this year. What do we do next year? How do we go from 4th higher? What do we need to implement? What do we need to buy? Yeah. So for me, 4th this year would be out of this world. Next year, then you'd say, okay, well, we finished 4th last year. So what are we going to do this year? And that's where Spurs always fall down, Mo. We've got 4th a lot of times. Right? Mo, you there? I think Mo's internet has completely dropped off. But by the way, James Bond, I'll tell you the reason I know that you're a child. You've just said 63 years and these man talking. First of all, learn to speak. That's nearly 4 decades. I really wish you knew how to use math. 63 years is not 4 decades. It's 6 and a bit. You absolute numbnuts. Oh my God. I think Daniel Levy, has come to get Mo. But look, listen, I fourth this year would be amazing for Spurs. Next year, though, got to kick on. That's where I don't trust the owners. Hopefully, they do kick us on. Hopefully, they do kick us on. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happened to Mo here at all. But listen, I'd love to hear from sensible people in the chat, though. Like I've seen there's some real sensible people that just talk football.
I'm sorry. My internet just cut out. My whole internet. It's
no, right.
We have a storm. We have a storm here. But yeah.
To sum it up, right?
Yeah.
What it is, we've been here before. But by the way, it hasn't happened this year yet, by the way. But if we're talking about fourth, and you asked about fourth, not me, right? If Spurs finish fourth, we finished fourth a number of times before, Mo. We finished second, we finished third, right? My answer to this is always, what can Spurs do? It's always, what does the owner want us to be after that?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, people, this has been an absolutely magnificent chat with Sava. Sorry, I got cut out here. It's just the internet is, for some reason, it's not good here because we have a storm. Pray for us. It's very, very cold here for us. -6 degrees is very cold. We don't go to work. But yeah, Sava, is absolutely brilliant having you here, my friend. As always, fantastic chat with you. Absolutely my pleasure having you here. For the people in the chat, make sure to like the video before you go. Tonight, we got a very, very good show. Only Chelsea Talk tonight with Gooni, Nina, Ziad. So to be on, just do the notification bell to know. Thank you so much for everybody that is stayed here with us. And Football Heritage TV people, in the description, please go give them a subscription. And I want you to like their last video or last 10 if you really want to help the channel. Just like.
Oh, Mo, good internet you got there, Mo.